welcome to our first podcast. This podcast has been brought to you by Amazon Prime. Go and check out all of their great products, and if you sign up for the first time, Jeff Bezos will make your shipping free on the first product that you purchase. He's doing a great thing right now for all you listeners, so please go check it out, go sign up, and you'll get free shipping. Alright, that's a good deal, if you ask me, alright? So do it. And my partner is Steven. He is on the podcast, so I'd like to welcome him here.
Thank you. Hey everyone. Today we're going to be talking about The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby is one of the most influential American novels of the 20th century. I could talk about it for ages. Written by F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby depicts the life of a young stockbroker trying to make it big in the Big Apple. He meets an extremely wealthy man named Jay Gatsby, and throughout the novel, Nick Carraway, the main character, finds out more about Gatsby and his desires, and he meets more acquaintances along the way. The book is extremely riveting, intriguing, and elegant.
Yes, it really is. I agree with you on that statement. And an interesting topic I've found about the book is how Gatsby changes throughout the novel. You can notice a gradual change in his choices and in his personality. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree. As the novel progresses, we get backstories to all the changes he's made, and most of his choices that are made throughout the story and beforehand are about money and Daisy, his first love. We find out that his house, his giant mansion, is centered around Daisy. On page 78, Jordan Baker tells Nick that it was no coincidence that Gatsby bought his house right across from Daisy and Tom's house, right across from the Sound. Gatsby had these parties to attract Daisy because they were so extravagant and elegant that he hoped that one day she'd come and wander into his house and fall in love with him again. But he had no idea that Daisy had been married to Tom Buchanan and swept up right before he left.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he had stuff in his house, that Gatsby had stuff in his house, and it would appeal to Daisy. It seems like he's been planning this for the 5 years that he hasn't seen her. Like, an example would probably be those shirts that he had in his bedroom. He was throwing it on her, and he, seemed to know that she would like him.
Yeah, he knew what Daisy liked. I mean, he bought the giant extravagant house that was huge, only for one person specifically. He bought all that stuff for Daisy. And she was so impressed by it that she was so impressed by his shirts that she basically started sobbing. She was so in awe of these shirts that he had bought that were all just for him, but just to show her that he had got so much acquired wealth in the past years.
That's a pretty smart idea of Gatsby. It seems like he really likes her. Do you think that she feels the same way about him? Because she is married and all. But I'm getting that feeling that she does like him. But, since she is married to Tom, it's probably holding her back, or she's undecided. And it's just the whole situation is weird because I don't know why they wouldn't just get a divorce.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was common in the 1920s to just stay married and have affairs. But yeah, they were obviously in love. They fell in love in Louisville, Kentucky before the Great War, before Gatsby had to leave her. And before Daisy got married to Tom. But Tom ended up sweeping her away, and Gatsby had no idea. She just couldn't wait for Gatsby anymore.
Wow, it's a shame, because he has been going through all that trouble just to change for her. He's been trying to get her attention. He was poor, and Daisy didn't want him because of that. He has that rags to riches story and did it for Daisy. He has made several parties, but then suddenly stopped. Why do you think that is?
Well, thanks to Nick, Daisy and Gatsby finally reunited after 5 years. They fell in love again, and there was no need to throw all those extravagant parties because he had what he wanted. He had thrown all those elusive parties just for Daisy. Gatsby did it all for Daisy's attention.
Yeah, he did. I guess it did kind of work because now that they're talking to each other, he hasn't been throwing those parties. So he gained a lot of money and threw all those parties so that she could come to him. That was all part of his plan. I have a question though. What was up with that green light he saw? He was near the ocean and he was looking out, like in the water, and he was staring at a green light for a little while. What significance do you think that has?
The green light is extremely important throughout the novel. It's across the sound, right where Daisy and Tom's dock is. So that green light represents Gatsby's imaginary, unreal thoughts that he can't obtain. So Daisy, all the money, all the old money that Tom has acquired, old wealth, because new wealth is seen as lower and not as rich. But he always looks out to the green light because Daisy and all that stuff is literally the only thing that he can't obtain.
Yeah, he tries to win her over and he spends time with her, but she does not choose to leave Tom and go for Gatsby. She married Tom because he was already rich and Gatsby wasn't there at the time. Now that he's back, he has a lot of money, and not only did he do it for her, Daisy and Gatsby loved each other way before, even though Gatsby was poor. She doesn't want to leave Tom because she loves him as well.
Yeah, Daisy is definitely in between a rock and a hard place. Gatsby acquires all his wealth and class just to be with her, but by the time he came back, she was already married. So, although she didn't want to be married to Tom, it guaranteed her wealth as a woman in the 20s. It was important to be married back then for a woman, or else she wouldn't have an optimistic future.
There was a time where Gatsby was in the same hotel as Daisy and Tom, and then Tom spills the beans about Gatsby on how he makes his money. He tells Daisy that he is a bootlegger and sells alcohol illegally for money. This frustrated Daisy, and she goes to confront Gatsby. When she does, he doesn't say the right words to convince her to rethink how she feels.
Yeah, this scene reveals how Gatsby made his money. It reveals him being a bootlegger, and it discourages Daisy's love for Gatsby because he made his money illegally. So it gives Tom more arrogance and it makes him more cocky because now he knows that Gatsby can't get Daisy anymore because now she knows that he's made this money illegally. So after Gatsby's death...
Hold up. Sorry, Steven, but I have to interrupt you right there. My producers just gave me the word saying that we are running out of time, so we're going to have to sadly wrap it up right here.
Oh.
I am very sorry, and I would like to thank you for being on the podcast. Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Make sure you guys get the book. It is a fascinating and interesting book. And make sure you go sign up for Amazon Prime too, alright? You get that free shipping. So go check them out. Thank you for listening, and good night.